Sakib Alam.
All right. Hey, everybody. Ethan Zerka here, and I've got my co-host with me over here, Sakib. Sakib is a good friend and business partner. Sakib, go ahead and introduce our guest today.
Yeah, so today we have John Belizaire from Soluna, and he is joining us for the 39th episode of Crypto Mining Tools. We actually work with Soluna on a daily basis, and I kind of wanted to get to know John and Soluna and what they do. John, please introduce yourself.
Yeah, John, very glad that we have you on. Before you introduce yourself, why don't you tell us a little bit more? Everybody has their own unique story of how they got into crypto or the crypto space. So introduce yourself and tell us about that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Happy to do it. And thanks for having me on. For the listeners' sake, Sakib is right. We've been working with you guys and we've been very happy. It's been a great partnership. We enjoy the transparency you guys have, and we hope to continue that relationship going forward. So I am the CEO of Soluna. Soluna is an interesting company. We are a combination of renewable energy development and enterprise scale or utility scale mining. And the reason we essentially have both of those types of businesses under the same umbrella is because we believe that ultimately vertical integration of renewable energy specifically and the crypto mining space is the future. Energy is such a big part of the business of mining. And the more you can bring that asset close to the operations of the business, the better you can be as a crypto miner, the more your destiny can be in your hands, if you will.
Sure.
We also believe that down the road, there are other larger opportunities that we'll talk about, I'm sure, on the show that get created by having both of those core competencies within one company. And to your question about how did I get into the space? It's about 2+ years ago, maybe about 2.5 years ago, late 2017, I was sort of coming to the end of a sabbatical that I was on after the sale of my last startup. And I had been evaluating a few opportunities. None of them sort of necessarily jazzed me up completely that I wanted to sort of jump in. And it was the first time that I was exploring opportunities that were not companies that I would be forming. I was being asked to become CEO of these companies. And along the way, I was keeping in touch with my longtime mentor and investor, this gentleman named Michael Toporek, who is a private equity firm GP. And just before a regular holiday I take during, December, the week between December and New Year's, I always sort of like go hide under a rock somewhere.
Yeah,
I was about to do that. And he said, John, did you sign anything yet? And I said, no. Why? He says, well, I need you to come down and take a look at this thing we're working on. I mean, we've been working on it for a while. And just to be clear, I want you to look at it because I want you to be CEO. I said, well, what is it? Because I know his business is investing in industrial companies, and I've mostly been running software startups. And so,
sure.
So I go to his. He says, look, the only thing I can tell you right now is that
I love the secrecy in our industry.
It's like it's a combination between renewable energy and blockchain. And the only part of that sentence I heard was blockchain. Oh, blockchain. That sounds
blockchain. Yeah. The buzzword, right?
I like blockchain.
Yeah. So I go to his office, and honestly, I go in sort of expecting to just find a gracious way of saying no. I'm going to take one of these opportunities. And no, they start in on the whole space and educate me on crypto, Bitcoin. Relationship with power, this huge utility resource they had access to in Morocco that needed that was stranded and needed a way to be monetized, and how these two worlds were coming together, and how the space is shaping up, and it turned into a series of meetings. I did go on vacation, but
right.
all I was doing was thinking of getting back to ask more questions.
Right.
But to put it plainly, that has led to a 2.5-year series of questions like, why wouldn't I do this kind of thing? So it's it was a very exciting entry into the space. I went down the rabbit hole and here I am.
Right.
That is,
I think-
that's an amazing story.
Thanks. Yeah, I like telling it because I too ask everyone who, how they got into the space. And prior to this, in my previous life, I was running an insurance software company, and I learned through asking that same question of insurance people that none of them purposefully came into the space. You know what I mean? They don't by accident or some happenstance. And so it was interesting to hear all the stories over the last few years of how folks got into the space.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting that, some of us, we get into the space for different reasons, but we end up learning so much more, especially about monetary policy, monetary history, about decentralization, and, pretty much what the next, 10, 15, 20 years is going to look like.
No doubt. If you look at the space, you really have an incredible sort of ecosystem market map, right? You do have the infrastructure elements, so the mining companies. You've got the digital currency or digital asset space that, in of itself, is sort of like an emerging area that's never been seen before.
Right.
You have the you have the decentralized financial infrastructure opportunity, and then you just have just super incredible tech, right? Just code.
Yeah, exactly.
That is being built to enable all sorts of interesting ways to use this technology
Exactly.
and these new assets in new and interesting ways. Everything from B2B and B2C commerce to store value. Think about the pandemic, how much investment came into these assets, and rethinking this whole space as, hey, we should, in big companies, like MicroStrategy, sort of deploying portions of their balance sheet to the assets. And then you have an entire wave of infrastructure development because you're going to build a whole new financial system that is, net native, decentralized, and digital. That's never been done before. It reminds me of when I got into the tech space in the mid '90s. This was sort of the realm of early internet, Mosaic.
I was there. there.
Netscape.
Yeah, remember that? Netscape. I mean, I remember calling Netscape and saying, how do we?
We called Netscape Nutscape back in the day.
You guys remember what was it? Alta Vista? Was it?
Yeah, Alta Vista.
Yeah. Hasta la Vista, yeah.
Alta Vista.
That's where I got all my my wares from, and I had a lot more of this going on.
Yeah, I mean, it was just fascinating how rapidly that took off, and some of the same questions were being asked. What is this? What is this? What is the internet? And what does this really mean? And
we even had the same naysayers. The people like, well, when this internet thing blows over, everything's gonna go back to business as normal. This is just a fad. People aren't gonna buy things online. People really want to go in and shop. They want to talk to somebody. And look at Amazon.
That's right.
He's one of those wealthiest man in the world right now because of that.
One of the dominant companies. Because eventually, sometimes innovation takes time to take hold, and once it becomes part of the fabric, it's really hard to not imagine it any other way.
Right? Yeah.
I actually walk through New York City streets sometimes. I don't really know why they're still there, but I see a phone booth and I'm like, wow, that's right.
Who uses that?
That's how you used to make phone calls, like, what are you doing?
You know why the phone booths are disappearing, right?
Well, I mean, cell phones are ubiquitous.
No, it's so we can't escape from the matrix.
Right.
Oh, maybe that's why the phone booths are still there.
Right.
So Neo can 5G, get out. That's why they get him out. Yeah, no, that's great.
Uh,
That's great.
So, but
So it's
that's the
great to be
thing.
on the
It's
show.
like we had the dot-com bubble, and because of that, look how much it has really changed our lives. The internet, it's affected every part of our lives, and I think blockchain technology is going to do just that
Oh,
because it's better
absolutely.
technology. You know.
That's right. That's exactly right. And it always has these sort of bumpy starts where lots of crazy ideas and crazy people
Hmm.
come in, and
Right.
it gets a bad name. And then once that's sort of washed out, there's a real focus on what's the real value here, and you start to get
Exactly.
real companies, large players come in, and it
Mhm.
becomes
Hmm.
an institutional, you know, change in what's going on. I'm on the board of a company that, for example, uses blockchain to provide transparency to supply chain. And that's a huge thing. Think about, the products you buy in the store. It'd be really interesting to know where they come from and
Oh yeah.
how those, raw materials are sourced, and what those local economies, how are they benefiting from,
Is
that
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 meat that's on sale in the grocery store, is it on sale because they got a good deal, or is it on sale because it's end of life?
exactly.
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 Yeah.
It would be good to know. So there's lots of things that we're going to see change, and it's only a matter of time.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, you've been in this for a limited time, relatively. I mean,
Yeah.
Bitcoin's been around since 2009, or a little bit before that, even. But you seem to have just really easily adopted and just taken this in full wash. What's the most fascinating thing that you've learned in the past 2.5 years, or the most interesting thing you've learned?
Oh, that's a great question. I think the most interesting thing is the intersection between um, you know uh, enterprise scale, or I'll call it sort of industrial scale mining,
Hmm.
and power, and the power industry. You have sort of two interesting forces that are taking place on the
Hmm.
energy side. We are now in what I would describe as a climate awakening. Um, some people,
Yeah,
some
the
people
power
still
companies
thinking,
are
yeah,
very
that's
slowly, coming to realize, like, well, wait a minute, this is big business and we can do serious business.
right, with these
Exactly.
enterprises. And I'm going to touch on another aspect that they're realizing, and that is that most of these utilities and most large energy sectors, let's take in the United States, you've got these big sort of sectors of the energy space that are a combination of different states, let's say, and they're called
Hmm.
ISOs, independent system operators,
Hmm.
and these companies sort of work together to, um, or these states rather work together to enhance and structure how power will develop and evolve. And in a number of large regions, there is a whole focus on deploying renewable energy as a
Hmm.
larger percentage of the power mixture on the grid. And that's very exciting for all the reasons that we know, right? We want to get to the goals that the Paris Accord has put out, and the effects on climate change and so
Hmm.
forth. But there are also challenges with that. You have renewable energy resources coming online. The grid was built to be powered by
Right.
carbon-based power, and
Hmm.
have really smooth and continuous generation of power that matches demand. And now, when you add a giant solar plant, it's not always
Hmm.
there, right? Things
Well,
change.
yeah, because it cycles,
Hmm.
it has uptime and has downtime. And
That's
my
exactly.
understanding,
Downtown, right.
one of the biggest challenges with renewable energy is the challenge that we have no ability to store its excess.
That's exactly right.
So
Yep.
it's
And that's
it's very capable of producing vast amounts of energy. It's just in limited time periods, and we have no ability to store it and then use that stored energy in its down periods. And I can understand how mining can kind of offset that, because when it creates that excess, that's when mining can step in and really utilize it and harness it. And so, yeah, that's absolutely fascinating.
yeah, that's exactly the point I was going to make, and that is that as these resources change and the mixture changes, the challenge is that the grid just can't absorb all of those new resources. And so if there's a way to add additional capability to the grid that could absorb it, and to your point, batteries is sort of the go-to thing, or pumping water up to a really high place is another way to go to solution. But mining is now being viewed as a new alternative to that. If you could build flexible data centers that could ramp up very quickly and absorb that excess power, you would reduce the amount of power that gets spilled, thereby enhancing the amount of green that you can add to the grid. And as a result, lowering costs and improving the experience of power and energy on the grid for the long haul. That's what we're excited about at Soluna. We're investing now to bring all of the innovation and technology and learnings that we've developed in the process of building our facility in Morocco. It's a utility scale site, 900 megawatts of power.
Wow! So almost a full gigawatt.
That's right. And we're building out in phases. And in that project, we're designing in essentially a computing farm with a whole host of capabilities for mining, and a control system that allows us to match the demand to the production of the wind farm, but also deliver a smooth profile of power to the grid. So we're probably building the biggest pilot known to man of this technology. And then we're bringing that during the pandemic. We did two things. Number one, we all grew beards, as you can see. Mine is well on the way.
I just started.
I shaved for the podcast. I have to admit it.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. I didn't even know I could grow a beard.
This is about 1 week on me, so give me another couple of weeks, and I'll be good to go.
See, that's a big difference. This is 6 months. It took me.
Oh.
And I've been saying to my wife, I should probably cut this off now. And she's like, no, this is good. I like this.
She likes it.
I like this look. So that's it. Yeah, I'm probably going to have it for a while. So that was the first thing. The second thing was we started thinking about how can we bring this concept of a computing facility, a flexible computing facility that's connected to a renewable resource, to other markets. And so we've been exploring the U.S., the Netherlands, and places where there is this high degree of energy spillage when you start adding renewables. And there's just tremendous interest in what we're doing. And we've had some fascinating conversations around this, and we're building, all sorts of capabilities to make this a reality. And so that's what excites us, this kind of confluence of renewable energy and the business of mining. Now, so that was all to answer your question, like what's been fascinating for you to learn. The second thing I would say, continuing to share learnings, is how hard the business of mining is. It's not an easy business, actually.
Oh, no.
You need to understand a lot about, energy. We've talked about different systems, data center operations, and I know that it really started. As you say, haven't been around for a while, but I've seen a lot of dead carcasses, and most of the learnings from that is lots of people have sort of started in a hobbyist way and just assume you just plug these things in and you put them close to each other and maybe put a fan here and there, and you're printing money. Yeah. No, it's actually like everything, it requires perfecting processes, efficiencies, and finding ways to get to scale in order to be successful relative to other players in the marketplace. So I think that's been really fascinating. And I would say the last thing that for me has been interesting has just been how close the architecture of the Bitcoin network, for example, has been to behaviors that sort of drive its growth. So this whole concept of economic drivers, right? You mine because you want to provide security, but then the fact that you have to expend cost and energy to do that, creates barriers to entry, but it also provides the security, and the asset that you gain encourages you to deploy that expenditure. It's there's this network effect that all ties to leaps in technology. It's I guess that's to say how incredibly prescient and well architected this white paper
Yeah.
was, creating, essentially an elegant solution to, the Byzantine general problem. So that's been really fascinating to me.
That absolutely is fascinating, and you are so right about really putting in the work to getting the details right. We had a guest on here that was talking about keeping the air density that the miners have access to. Just by controlling that correctly, the heat can then be more efficiently removed from the miners, and the fans have to work less, which reduce operating costs, by 20%.
Right.
And when you think about it, it all makes sense. But you're absolutely right. Like as a hobbyist miner, I remember the first miners that I had. I put them down in my garage, and I put some dryer duct vent in a window, and I thought that's all I needed. But if you really want to be in this for the long haul, you have to think about those very minute details and control them, and be on top of them. And that's what makes the difference between extreme success and just getting by.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
And I think using renewable energy, the lower that you can get your energy cost, the better advantage you have over other players in the market. And so by using renewable energy sources, like a lot of people are using oil and gas, and they have a very low cost of energy because of that. And I'm sure wind is also quite low in energy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Energy costs representing such a large portion of the operating costs of a facility like that, getting the lowest footprint on that is really important. And the bigger you get and more scaled you get, it almost leads you to, vertically integrate. And that's right. the thesis that we were based on, where maybe owning the assets becomes part of the picture if you want to be in for the long haul.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And you have more control of that price if you can build it at a cheap price, which means going to places where the resource will be incredibly productive, but hard to build because it's so far from infrastructure. The economy doesn't have a need for the power in the near term, and so you could deploy this model of vertical integration and then provide the power to the grid as well. So we're fascinated by just how those two worlds come together, and it's sort of a core foundation to what we're about as a company.
Speaking of vertical integration, Saqib, why don't you show our audience our vertical integration in the technology framework that we're working with crypto mining tools?
All right, let me go ahead and do that real quick. Just a second here. Oh, for some reason my screen isn't sharing.
Are you not able to share your screen, Saqib?
Nope, it's not sharing for me for some reason.
Okay. Yeah. Can you
we can basically talk about crypto mining tools? So we have a website, cryptomining.tools, wherein we have the world's first global hosting platform. We have hosting facilities worldwide that we're verified from around the world, and they are available with their power cost and their type of facility, like if it's managed, unmanaged, or the type of facility that you would like. You can basically go ahead and select that and request quotes from any facility. So that's world's first. And then we also have a calculator and a comparison app that can help you compare and basically find the best miner for your needs. You can go through all different types of models. We're adding models every day. We have the S19s on there as well for you to check profitability. So those are some of the things that we have on cryptomining.tools, and I will hand it off to Ethan.
Yeah, if you get a chance, go to our website. It's a great place where you can learn, you can educate yourself on what the best miners are out in the market, and you can also shop. So not only can you learn what miner is the best fit for you and your situation, but you can actually go to our online shop. You can make a purchase. And if you need that power and hopefully we can add more renewable power solutions, which I think is vital to our industry, you can also get that. So anywhere from fully managed hosting to power purchase agreements, you can actually purchase your own raw power, drag up your own container full of miners and start utilizing that power. So yeah, if you get a chance, Crypto Mining Tools, it's a great resource. And we're going to go back to John here now. John, tell us more about this beard situation. You were saying is 6 months has taken you to get to this point?
Yeah, so that's right. I mean, the idea is that we were trying to find a way to stay connected as a team, because with COVID and the pandemic and lockdowns, we really couldn't see each other physically anymore. And so suddenly our operating system as a company changed such that we moved to higher levels of interaction among the team, and to create ways for us to stay connected. I thought we should do something together as a team where you can't play, same thing. You can't go play soccer or anything like that.
Right.
And so I thought, let's all grow a beard, and and obviously the women on our team couldn't really do that, but so we let's all grow a beard and chronicle the beards and the development over time.
Okay. Yeah.
And first few days, Larby, our head of engineering from Morocco, like his beard's already like flush.
He pulled an Ethan.
Yeah, different tell. He's already like he's got like this steak size, patches of hair. Phil, his grows fast, but is very blotchy. He's very patchy. I mean, and then here I am, and I barely got a mustache going at this point, and they're like, John, like what's going on? And then suddenly, I don't know what it was. Like, if I took some extra vitamins or the different bottle of wine or something, but suddenly it started growing, and it just started huffing and puffing and making its way out. And here it is. So I never knew I could grow a beard. I'd never really grown one. I tend to be really, low haircut or no haircut, and clean shaven because it's so stubby. And
so
here I am,
went all the way around. You grew the top and the beard.
Yeah. This hair equally is way beyond the length that it should normally be. And so I've grown it out. And the funny thing is, I've gotten, so now I'm on these Zoom calls all the time. I've gotten everything from, wow, you look younger, to, you look like Wyclef Jean, And I'm like, wow, that's great. And so people were like, yeah, I like it. You got to stay with it, because I'm thinking after this conference, I mean, this contest, I'm going to just cut it all off. And I was telling my wife the other day, okay, I think it's time to go,
right.
With it. She's like, wait, what do you mean? Why are you going to do that? And more importantly, she's like, what are you going to do with the beard? And I said, and I said, well, that's going to go too. No, I like the beard. I think you should hold on to it. Just trim it. And I says, oh, so you like the beard, And so I think it's going to be around for a while, guys.
That's awesome. Absolutely awesome.
So
awesome.
So John, can you tell us a little bit about Morocco and how are you finding it, working over there? Obviously, as you said, the governments are, they have excess energy, and so it's much better for you guys to locate over there. How are you finding? I mean,
actually,
what are the challenges?
To be honest, Morocco is a fascinating country. Notwithstanding all of the rich history, culture, food, the very diverse, parts of the country. It's Northern Africa, and so you've got all sorts of amazingly beautiful parts of the country. But when it comes to renewable energy, it's actually probably one of the most forward-leaning countries in that regard. They have a countrywide mandate to deploy more than 53% of their power from renewable sources. So they want to get to energy security. When we started working with them, they were essentially a net importer of power, right? So they had to bring power in and bring raw material in to generate power. They're moving now to the point where in the next few years, they will become a power exporter. And so they'll be able to deliver power to their neighboring countries in Africa and beyond. They have there probably one of the largest concentrated solar plants ever developed that powers a good portion of their grid. And in the regions that we're involved with, they, there's a tremendous amount of, wind energy that could generate really low cost power for the grid infrastructure and the local city there to really help advance the economy. The government has been very supportive of what we're doing. Mind you, just like any other country, we've had to spend lots of time educating them on blockchain cryptocurrency.
Yeah, I can imagine.
I think I've spoken to the central bank there at least 5 times, and and probably lots of other ministries there. But I have found that they're very well spoken. They educate themselves and really understand the value that this would bring. And one of our core values as a company is not just to extract, but to contribute. We're really about bringing this vertical integration to places that could benefit from it in the way that I talked about in developing countries, more renewable power. You look at the continent of Africa; there's so much energy poverty, if you will, and an approach like this could help to reverse that. But we try to also use the facilities that we develop as a catalyst for creating a new community there, a technically oriented community. Blockchain and the whole space, there's really a drought in expertise around the world for these types of things. And so if we can build a center of excellence, we can then add more capabilities. There's lots of really young, bright, intelligent people coming out of the universities there. Right. And so we're using our project to build that ecosystem and that center of excellence for blockchain there. So Morocco has been really great. The pandemic has really been challenging for us because, with the lockdowns and restricted travel, it has, created all sorts of delays and things that we could be doing on the project. But we're very resilient as a company, and we have found lots of interesting ways to get Moroccans who are used to, having conversations over a meal, jump on a Zoom call and, keep moving the ball forward. So that has helped us a lot over the last few months.
I love hearing these stories because, every time I talk to somebody, they'll ask me, what do you do, Ethan? What do you do for a living? And I'll say, I'm in the crypto industry or the mining industry or, and immediately what comes to their mind is, oh, that's stocks. That's stocks. And that's too risky for me.
Right.
I didn't get in the stock market. I don't have any money in the stock market. I don't need to hear any more about this. What they're not understanding is, I'm a part of an industry that is literally completely changing things.
Yeah.
Especially in developing countries, developing areas, developing nations. Just like you said, getting them to where they have a power equity, where they have an abundance of power to sell.
That's right. Yeah.
But beyond that, they're also getting a financial system that is independent. It is not controlled by any single one government or entity. It is free from some of the tyrannies and some of the systematic discrimination that we have in our existing system. And it's liberating. Right. It is liberating people. It is changing their lives for the better. And I just can't explain that in a very simple or eloquent way to anybody. But this is what I'm proud of. This is the industry I'm a part of. Yeah. And I just feel like we're so lucky to have you on today as
Yeah.
our guest, John. Can you let our listeners know what is a good way to reach out to you if they would like to learn more or collaborate with you in any way?
Absolutely. They should definitely visit our website. We're Soluna, SOLUNA .io.
Can you put that up, Sakib, for everybody to see?
Yeah, I got it. So Soluna.io, and I will show that here.
Yeah. We've got a great series of emails that folks can connect with us on. That's hello@soluna.io. We have a podcast as well, so you can get to know the team and what we're learning. We're learning a lot about energy and the crypto space, and so we try to put sort of our learning out there in the open so people can join us on the journey, if you will.
Interesting.
So, we encourage
we'll definitely check that out.
It's called the Kingdom podcast by Soluna, and definitely encourage folks to go and check that out. We have a blog as well on Medium where we share some of our thoughts and learning. And we also have a Telegram channel as well, Soluna. So there's lots of ways to connect with us. We are interested in talking to folks who have lots of experience in energy, lots of experience in crypto, want to help go build large utility scale facilities with us around the world to really help move renewable energy and the decentralized finance space in the right direction. And so we're always interested in talking to new and talented people. So please be
awesome. That is awesome.
Thank you for joining us today, John, for a great podcast. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it as well.
Thanks again. All right. And
Bye.
Bitcoin keep going up.
Yeah, exactly. Going in the right direction. All right.
See you guys.